Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It was a cold evening when Emily Langston pulled into the driveway of her childhood home. The headlights slicing through the misty air like knives. She had not been home in months, caught up in the rush of her new job and her new relationship with Daniel Reeves. Daniel was everything she thought she wanted: kind, protective, endlessly patient. When she had first introduced him to her family, her mother had been wary. Her father had barely spoken at all. Her younger brother Sam had joked about it later, calling Daniel the charmer. Emily had brushed off their concerns, blinded by the way Daniel made her feel special, seen, safe. But nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to discover that night. The house was eerily silent when she stepped inside. No smell of her mother's homemade chili simmering on the stove.
Ow.
No muffled sounds of Sam's video games from the living room. No warm embrace from her father by the door. Just silence, thick and heavy, pressing against her chest.
No.
She called out, her voice trembling slightly. No answer. Her heart pounded. Something was wrong. She moved from room to room, her footsteps echoing strangely. The kitchen light was on, the table set for dinner, plates untouched. A cold shiver ran down her spine as she noticed a strange dark stain on the floor by the hallway. It was smeared, like something had been dragged. Panic flared inside her. She pulled out her phone to call 911. But before she could dial, she heard the soft creak of a floorboard upstairs. She froze. Someone else was in the house. Slowly, she backed toward the front door, her breath catching in her throat. That was when Daniel appeared at the top of the stairs. His clothes were soaked in blood. Emily gasped, stumbling back against the wall. Daniel, ... What happened? Where's my family? She choked out, tears blurring her vision. Daniel descended the stairs slowly, a twisted smile curling his lips. They're gone, Em. They were in the way. His voice was calm, almost gentle, as if he were explaining something obvious. Emily shook her head violently, refusing to believe it. No. You're lying. This isn't funny. She screamed. But deep down, she knew he wasn't lying. Daniel reached the bottom step and tilted his head, studying her like she was some strange broken thing. They didn't approve of me. They thought they could keep us apart. I couldn't let them. Emily backed toward the door, her shaking fingers fumbling for the handle. You're insane, she cried. They were my family. Daniel's expression hardened. They weren't your family. Not anymore. I'm your family now. She wrenched the door open and fled into the night, the icy air tearing at her lungs. Her feet pounded the pavement as she sprinted toward the neighbor's house, praying someone would be home. She didn't dare look back. Didn't dare see if Daniel was following. She made it to Mrs. Kellen's porch and pounded on the door, sobbing. Lights flicked on inside, and moments later Mrs. Kellen opened the door, her eyes widening in horror at the sight of Emily, blood-streaked and hysterical. Emily collapsed into her arms, the dam breaking. Between gasping sobs, she told her everything: the silent house, the blood, Daniel. The police arrived within minutes. They found the bodies of Emily's parents and her brother hidden in the basement, each one brutally murdered. It was a scene so horrific that even the seasoned officers turned pale. Daniel was gone. Statewide manhunt was launched, but he had vanished without a trace, leaving Emily to pick up the shattered pieces of her life. The weeks that followed were a blur. Emily stayed with friends, too terrified to be alone. Every creak of a floorboard, every shadow at the window made her heart race. She barely ate. She barely slept. She lived in a constant state of fear, always looking over her shoulder, waiting for Daniel to reappear. Therapy helped a little, but the nightmares never really stopped. She kept replaying that night in her mind, wondering how she had missed the signs, how she had let a monster into her life and into her family's lives. One afternoon, she found an old journal her mother had kept. Leafing through its pages, Emily discovered entries about Daniel, concerns about his possessiveness, his controlling behavior, things Emily had ignored. Her mother had seen what Emily could not. Guilt consumed her. If only she had listened. If only she had seen. 6 months later, the police received a tip about a man matching Daniel S.'s description scene, working under an alias in a remote town 3 states away. They set up surveillance, careful not to spook him. Emily was kept informed every step of the way. When they finally moved in to arrest him, he resisted violently, injuring 2 officers before being subdued. Emily refused to see him face to face. She wanted nothing more to do with him. At his trial, she sat in the back of the courtroom, her hands trembling as she listened to the prosecutor lay out the horror of what he had done. Daniel showed no remorse. He smiled at her once across the courtroom, and it made her skin crawl. He was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. But the sentence did little to ease Emily's pain. Her family was still gone. Her heart still ached. Healing was slow. Some days it felt impossible, but Emily refused to let Daniel take any more from her. She went back to school, finished her degree in psychology, and eventually began working with domestic violence survivors, hoping to help others spot the red flags she had missed. Years later, standing in front of a group of women sharing her story, Emily felt a strange sense of peace. She would never forget the family she had lost, or the horror she had lived through, but she had survived. She had rebuilt her life from the ashes, and in doing so, she honored them. In the end, she realized, love should never cost you your soul. True love does not demand silence. It does not isolate. It does not destroy. It lifts you up. It makes you better. It makes you whole. As Emily looked around the room, at the faces of the women listening, she saw herself in each of them. The fear, the pain, but also the strength. The fierce, unbreakable will to survive. And in that moment, she knew that she had found her true family. The family she had built, not the one taken from her. She smiled, small but genuine, and spoke the words that had become her mantra. We are more than what they tried to break. We are more. And for the first time in a long time, Emily truly believed it. If you enjoy the video, please like it and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.